Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the Business Talk Show. And if you've been watching at least one episode, you know that this wouldn't be possible if it weren't for my co-host and friend. He is the trifecta here at USA Global TV, which means he is a co-host, he's an expert presenter as a talking head, and he's an elevated listener. His name is al.cini, and you need to reach out to him. He is someone that you want to know personally and professionally. He is one in a million. Let's welcome him to the program. Hello, Mr. Cini.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn, and happy Women's History Month that starts today.
Well, thank you. And thank you. I appreciate that. I wasn't aware of it because I spend all my time behind this green screen, but that is definitely something to celebrate. So, Al, we've been doing this show for a while. I think we're 80 some episodes in on this specific show, and we always have great guests who bring all kinds of value. And today, of course, is no exception. But before we bring our guest, Camille, out, I want to spotlight you. We're also going to run a clip. And for people who are not familiar with you or what it is that you do outside of USA Global TV, let's let them know.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Well, among a few other things, lately I've been co-hosting and co-producing a program called The Advocates, which streams on RVN television. And the program really highlights exceptional people who have done great things for other people out of the goodness of their hearts. I mean, what we do is line up guests who have been terrific servants of their communities, maybe even just a local community, maybe even just a few people. Also, some people who advocate causes. And those conversations, I think, are enriching because it's really not about profit or money. It's about value, which is, I think, what everybody really wants in their lives, which is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about our interview today with Camille Miller. I think she, talking about soul and the importance of soul and the importance of being connected to purpose, and using purpose to drive your efforts, I think it'll be a fun conversation and very much in line with what I think the world is looking for these days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Al. We're going to run your clip. Let me just take down your banner. I need 3 of me. Okay, let's take a look at The Advocates.
Thank you.
And that's coming up March. Very exciting.
We shot our first program today without a guest, but just talking about what our vision was for the program. And we actually start interviewing people next Wednesday. And our first guest is actually a woman who does research for an organization called the Kessler Foundation, which is a not-for-profit organization that does traumatic brain injury and neuromuscular disease research. They've come up with solutions that make it possible for people who would otherwise be living lives in paralysis to move and return to work and live relatively normal, actually exemplary lives in some cases. And, and I mentioned that it's National, actually Women's History Month beginning March 1st in the United States. I think that honestly, if we had treated women since the beginning of mankind the way we treat men, we'd be doing this program from Mars. We have done ourselves such a huge disservice, marginalizing half the population. And that half of the population, by the way, has so much to offer. And we've kept them in the kitchen and denigrated them, and in some cases forced them into a life of servitude. And as a result of that, I think mankind has suffered. And I just wanted to say that some of the greatest people I've ever worked with have been women. And I'm happy that we're finally waking up to the whole thought that women ought to be raised with the inclination to do the amazing, powerful things they can do.
Well, Al, thank you for sharing that on behalf of women everywhere. I think that was just so heartfelt. And that's one of the reasons I love you. You're just that kind of guy. You respect women, you work with women, you lift women up all the time.
Oh, thank you. And well, I don't like to think of them. They're wonderful people in the world, and many of them are women. There would be many more of them if we would just give them a break. And human rights really is women's rights. I mean, they're really the same thing. And we're talking about half the world's population, really. And in some countries, what women have to endure, what they need to suffer, and it was true. The incredible thing to me is of all the participants in American democracy, women got the right to vote last. They've only been voting for 100 years, just since 1920. They were not allowed to vote until 1920. It's incredible to me that we went that far into the 20th century without allowing women the opportunity to vote. And this is the United States. So you can imagine what it's like elsewhere.
Yes, especially their friends have people living in different countries where women have to be all covered up. They're not allowed to speak. I mean, we could go on, and we should have a whole show just about that. Today, our guest is going to talk to us about putting soul in business, entrepreneurship. Her name is Camille Miller, and she is a chief visionary. She is a podcaster herself. She is an author and so much more. Let's bring her out and let's have a nice chat with her. Welcome, Camille Miller, to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Where are you joining us from
just
today?
happens to be a woman, by the way.
Yes.
I was like, was that planned?
Yeah. Drum roll. Camille, where are you joining us from in the world today?
I am in New Jersey.
Ah, Mr. Cini's there as well.
That's where I am.
Yeah, fantastic.
You're from Jersey? I'm from Jersey.
I'm from Jersey.
What exit?
Right now, I'm at the beach, though.
Good for you.
I decided to work from the beach today, so.
Right.
That's nice. I spent part of the time at the Jersey Shore myself. So
yeah, Dr.
We were all
Jacalyn,
meant
you're in
to
Avalon.
meet for a reason. No, I'm in Florida right now.
How are you? Yeah, but I mean, when you're here in Jersey, you're in Avalon, New Jersey?
I'm in Avalon, yes.
South Jersey. And Camille, are you Central Jersey? Which beach?
I'm in Seaside Park today.
Beautiful.
My
Good
parents
for you.
have a place there. Yeah.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And
You're
I
welcome.
love this topic. It's so relevant. It's always been relevant and always will be. And I really like to think of it as, this is just my interpretation, moving from a 3D egocentric world into a 5D heart-centric world. What are your thoughts about that, Camille?
Absolutely. And I think the world, as we've seen it, has moved from almost like a male-dominated energy to a female energy. It's a lot softer, it's a lot nurturing. It comes from the heart, and businesses are being created differently. I believe that there's an evolution going on right now, a paradigm shift in the world, and people want to just love what they do and be very aligned with their work.
I think you're right. And I think for all the people out there who may think that it's a fad, I mean, I think we need to reassure them that this is a permanent change, not a little pendulum swing.
Yeah.
And if, as an entrepreneur, a male entrepreneur, you adopt some of these principles and look at the world this way, you can make more money. Isn't that right, Camille?
I think so. I mean, I think it's really about building relationships. It used to be about building relationships. I think once again, and going through 2020, now it's about building relationships and understanding people, and not like card jabbing them, but to understand their story and attracting people naturally.
That's exciting.
It's a very different way of doing business, and there's a lot of feminine energy around it.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting, and I wasn't aware of this until I started taking singing lessons, but that we all have masculine and feminine energy.
Yes, we do.
And we can tap into either one of those. I mean, I personally found out that I run masculine energy 24/7 and have to get back in touch with the feminine. But what about the two of you? Al, are you always in your male energy? And Camille, you're always in your female?
I experience it all the time. And I guess we're raised a certain way, and we're also, I think, biologically wired certain ways. So there are some tendencies that come naturally to us, but life is about living a full life by adapting away from those tendencies and mindfully doing the things that you need to do. That's why I think people like Camille offer so much value, because you're not doomed to your gender. Just because you were born one way or another doesn't mean you're doomed to live your life that way. And by combining the energies of let's say a masculine and feminine way of doing business, you could really achieve amazing things. And Camille, I guess that's what you help your clients do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. First, I was asked, do I stay in my feminine energy? I used to be very masculine energy, very drawn that way, very competitive, sales oriented, very, but at some point there was this absolute shift for me that allowed me to go more into my female energy. And now that's really where I stay. I really come from a place of abundance and service and helping others. And now I naturally draw people back to me. So yes.
Good.
And yeah, it is what I do now. So I call myself an alternative business engineer, and I help people shift from what they do to what's totally aligned with who they are. So it doesn't matter what you do. Like I've helped doctors and chefs and lawyers and all sorts of different things, but it's really being in lines with who you are and what feels good. And we start with, what's your ultimate dream?
Oh, okay. Start with me. I'm a client. I'm already hired. Start with me. So I'm a backslapping, cigar chomping. Hey, yo, what's going on? How you doing? New Jersey male. And that's how I roll, right? Where does our conversation start, and how do you show me a different way to approach things?
Well, it would start with actually you wanting to make the change, right? I can't create that change for you.
I do.
But it would be the people that come to me. For instance, I just had a chef come to me who's worked in a corporate life his whole life. He was in R&D. He's worked in restaurants and all of this. And he's like, I've had enough now. And I want to create healthy food going forward. And that's all I want to deal with. I don't want to work in chemicals and what's fake. And it just doesn't feel good. It's not aligned with who I am. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see what that looks like for you. And I always start with the same question. What is your ultimate dream? If you could have any business, exactly what would it look like and what would it feel like to you? And start with what you like and what you don't like. So I always start with the two columns, what you like and what you don't like. So some people will say, I want to spend more time with my family or my kids, and I don't want to work weekends or nights. I want to help young children or start a nonprofit or whatever those are. And once we have that stacked and I understand, then we start to create a business structure out of it. Great. So I often hear from people, I want to do this, but I'll never make money. And that's the first limiting belief you have to work on, because you will make money if you create it right. Because if you love it and it comes from a place of passion, you will absolutely make money.
What do you think about that, Dr. Jacalyn?
I think that makes a lot of sense. Also, on an earlier show today, we had someone who has been able to manifest everything that she's wanted and more by drawing it. Mm-hmm. And I just started doing that today as well. So I like the idea that, first of all, this person came to you, they're doing something that is not aligned with their passion. And then you have them basically look at, well, what is working, what isn't, what is your dream, what would that look like? And then people can actually see it. Yes. Because many times we think we know what we want, but we can't actually articulate. All we can say is what we don't want. Right? Isn't that? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want this.
Yeah. So I pull out both, but it's also, how do you feel about it? And sometimes when they tell me, you can hear them say, well, I guess I can do this. No, there's not guessing. Do you like that or you don't like that? Well, I don't really like it, but I know I have to do it. I was like, no, you don't. It's like people telling me I have to be on social media. I have to do Facebook. I was like, no, you don't. You don't have to do anything. I built a company without it. You don't need it. It's really this facade of what we think a professional is. And that goes into the other side of what I do. I call it a soul professional. Someone who's totally aligned with who they are. And we've created a professional organization that's filled with all people and every job and field, but our commonality is how we feel inside, coming from that place of abundance and wanting to help and serve others.
It's great.
Yeah. So you can do it.
How often does it happen that we start with what I tell you, which is what I think I want, maybe what I think, and with my limiting beliefs, because we're going to start with all those things that I believe that are just really not true, but they're holding me back. How often and how quickly does that change, that inventory of things I want to do? I mean, that changes as soon as we start talking, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. Right. So I'm more trained to hear it. Right. It's hard when you're doing it. Entrepreneurship is very lonely. Right.
Yes.
So and you're filled. I don't care if you're spiritual or not. You're filled with the belief that this can't happen. This can't happen. This can't happen. So we have to kind of dig through that. With a lot of people that come from a place of service, they don't feel like they can charge. Well, I can't really charge. That's my gift. I'm really good at it. So why would I charge people a lot of money? Because you're really good at it, and trying to explain to people that you have a business, you still have to make money. And a lot of this came out in 2020 is when I created our business way before that. But in 2020, it was just, it just rose to the top, right? For people in the service industries, they just wanted to help the whole world, but not charge anybody. And that's actually where I started my podcast, was to tell stories called 6-Figure Souls, Doing Good and Making Money, about people that stayed very aligned with who they are. And they do crush that 6-figure ceiling, because everyone wants to be 6 figures. That's all I ever hear. I just want to make 6 figures. I just want to make 6 figures. And I keep saying there's a lot of money between 100,000 and $1 million.
Sure.
Right. That's a lot of figures. So,
especially when that number is red rather than black.
Yes. Right.
Yeah,
There's a lot to business.
Yes. And that's another issue, because I think an awful lot of entrepreneurs, especially, get started with what they think they need to do. I mean, I can't remember I remember vaguely, broadly what the quote is. It's not the things I don't know that get me in trouble. It's the things I do know that just ain't so. And we operate under those misconceptions, and without realizing it, we head down a road where we borrow a lot of money to maintain something that's never going to take off, until we finally get the wisdom to call somebody like Camille Miller and get things back on track. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's something you need a coach for, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone starts a business out of their own passion, right? There's a reason, there's a story behind your why. Why do you do that? And your story is really important, but a lot of people mission creep, right? When I was in the nonprofit world, we used to call it mission creeping. Like, you started for something, but then you're going way off. Or I tell people, don't go wide, especially with healers and stuff. They just keep getting certificates, and I'll just need to do this, and I need to do that. And I was like, why? Why do you need to do that? You don't need 14 services. You need one. You need to do one really, really well before you bring on another one. So it's a combination of, business and limiting beliefs and what you really want and getting rid of what you don't want. But people start businesses from their passion. They just have to learn how to make money consistently, staying in their lane of joy. Yeah.
I like that, in their lane of joy.
It is. It's great.
Yeah.
That's
if it doesn't
beautiful.
feel good, don't do it. And that's what I say when people are like, I have to do this and I have to do that. I was like, why? Is it bringing you money? If it's not fast, easy, and profitable, don't do it. And if you hate it, don't do it at all. I don't even care if it's profitable. Don't do it. There are some things that need to be done, right? I hate accounting. So I hired an accountant so I can stay in my lane of joy.
Good for
right?
you.
I like strategic planning. I love creating businesses. I hate running businesses. So guess what? My whole business is creating businesses for people.
So
That's what I love to do.
I want to explore with you the word soul, because I know it turns up
Okay.
on your LinkedIn profile everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think everybody thinks they know what soul means. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's a pretty commonly probably misunderstood word. So define it for us, because I know we all have a misunderstanding of it.
Yeah. So I define a soul professional, because obviously that's what I work with, as someone who lives in a higher vibration, has an alternative approach to business, and is here to repair the world. So yeah, what does that mean? So living in a higher vibration means you come from a place of abundance, a place of serving others, a place of your truth and authenticity. Having an alternative approach to business means you're not necessarily following that guideline from the 1970s of what a professional is, right? You have an alternative approach. I use the law of attraction. I believe when I'm a better person and work on myself, others are attracted to me because of that. I don't have to sell anything to anyone. I always say, if it feels good, come on aboard. If it doesn't feel good, you're probably not a client for me. And that's it. And here to repair the world, I believe, is a collective energy of people that just want to help and serve others. So soul is who you are on the inside, if that helps.
Well, it does. And everybody's got one.
Everyone's got one. It's just if you tap into it or not.
I went through Catholic school. There were milk bottles. The dark milk bottle were sinners, and the white milk bottle were people who didn't sin. I mean, there were good people and bad people, and they had a kind of a very almost a cartoonish way of representing good versus evil that stuck with me. So soul obviously has to do with your quality of character to a certain extent, but it also has to do with, as I'm listening to you, it has to do with a connectedness with something higher than yourself, which is really where you get your spiritual energy. Yes,
absolutely. It's a connectedness to everyone and everything. Right. So you have a black and white towards what's good or what's bad. I grew up in Catholic school as well. What's good and what's bad. But when I kind of went over to the soul place, this very spiritual place, it's everyone has good in them. Something happened to change their story and how I perceive them. Right. So your perception of anything in life can change as soon as you shift your mindset. Right. I can take a victim side. I can take a heroine side. Right. I can just be like, what's my truth and my story? So sometimes you have to kind of dive into that a little bit. Right. Even our limiting beliefs around money, what you should have, what you shouldn't have. We hate wealthy people. We love wealthy people. You were brought up believing things from your family. All of us were. And it's what your truth is. So it's kind of looking into the soul of that person, is their truth, their authenticity. Everyone has a soul.
And how does women's energy play into that whole process that you just talked about?
Yeah. So in business, we say your more feminine energy side is the nurturing side, the serving others, the helping. It doesn't come from competitive, which is more male energy. It's ego driven, right? One's soul driven, one's ego driven. So as soon as you're in that ego space, that's your male energy shifting. As soon as you're saying, well, I have to hit 10 sales by the end of the week, and I don't care what I have to do to get that, that's coming from your ego. That's coming from your male energy. But if you're saying, my intention is to have 10 sales by the end of the week, or your intention would be, I want to help 10 people by the end of the week. I don't care how they come to me. I don't necessarily need to make the money, but it's important to me that all 10 of them are helped along the way. Yeah. That's totally different way. Yeah. Hugely different. One's not attached to the expectation of money. It comes anyway. Right. I wouldn't be in business if it didn't. But when people can let go of that expectation of how it's supposed to come, because it doesn't necessarily come that way, you can attract through your energy.
I think it's a funny thing, because let's say that masculine energy is stupid energy, because for purposes of argument.
Well, I'm not saying that.
You start off so good, Al.
Let me say that. The stupid energy part of masculine energy, to me anyway, is that somehow there has to be a reward attached to every action. It's not worth doing unless I'm getting something back by doing it.
Right.
And
that's ego.
that's what you're saying is the habit pattern that I need to break. And that causes me to operate at a higher level of frequency, a higher vibrational level, because I'm no longer attached to base things. I'm now attached to something loftier, which means I now am saying something of value and not just trying to find a way to convince you to give me your money.
Right. That's feminine energy. Yes.
Yeah. And that's
when you detach it from ego, it's like your soul or your ego, right? That's the way we say soul versus ego. That's when you're detached from the outcome. So when you're going to a networking event, you're not going to sell people, you're going to build relationships. So if I meet one or two people and those relationships become long-term, that's a win for me, even if I didn't sell anything, because I have more of a long-term goal.
So wait, I want to jump in here.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, I said when I was taking voice lessons that my coach said, you're singing from masculine energy. And so this is what I'm trying to explore. When I feel like I'm working in my masculine energy, it's because I have a zillion things to do, no one to help me, and it's like go, 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 go. But I don't see a price tag attached to it. I just feel like I have stuff to get done and I got to go full steam ahead. So I don't know if that's feminine or masculine energy, but it's real.
Yes. No, I totally get that. Yeah. So when that happens, it happens to all of us. It's not just you. It happens to all of us. And it happens to an extreme amount of professional women, right? That have house and children. And a lot of times they're doing it all. And there's stress and anxiety and so many things attached to it. And on top of it, they have to do well. Sometimes they're the breadwinner. How do you slow that all down? One of the things to look at is when you're coming from a feminine place is that you actually do better when you go slower. I know you still have deadlines and you still have things, but I find, and I sometimes still have to catch myself doing this, by the way, and that's why I'm down the shore, because I'm writing a book right now, and I was like, I need to get out of my house because I will do 1,000 things if I'm here. Let me just take time and take a step away and make sure I walk through the beach and smell the salt water and take time for self-care and to slow down so I can honor my needs, right? So when you take care of your own needs, you're a stronger person for the people that you are serving.
That makes a lot of sense. I tell myself every day, you've got to get outside and get away from this green screen.
You will actually find you are way more productive when you do that.
Yeah.
So I'm more productive when I take time away, because then I have short spurts of energy where I'm just working on one thing, right? And being very focused on the one thing, get it done, move on, and to take time off. It took me a long time to take weekends off. First it was just take Sundays off. Then it was take Saturdays off. Now it's take half a day Friday off. Now it's to actually travel once a month, and to add that to my schedule. But I know when you're lacking money in your bank accounts, struggling, it's really hard to say to a business owner, you need to take time off. You'll actually be more productive.
Yeah.
But you will be.
Well, there are two thoughts I'm getting. One is thank you, first of all, for taking time away from writing your book to talk to us. I appreciate it. and secondly, I want you to get off as quickly as possible because I need to read your book. I really need. I want you to get that book done, for God's sake. But I want to pick up on that. Remember that discussion we had of stupid masculine energy?
Yes.
What I'm liking about what I'm hearing talking to you, Camille, is that you're saying that you start from a place of giving and contributing rather than of targeting and hunting, more gathering than hunting, which I like.
Yes, absolutely.
And the stupid masculine energy thing is, as targeted and assertive as males like to think they are, they'll often work for free without realizing that what they're offering has value and should be exchanged for money. So I think a woman has sometimes more common sense when it comes to that. I'll give you this much. But if we're not going to be working together commercially, then I don't see why the next step is yours, and it's got to be reaching into your wallet or taking out your credit card.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. And it's so interesting because I talk to so many people that are starting out, say they're a year or two into their business and they're in that place of frustration. That's usually when they call me. And they're like, you know, I'm doing all this networking. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm talking to all these people. I'm, you know, constantly on. You can just feel the tenseness in them, which is all male energy. And they're like, I'm not making connections. People won't buy my stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about where you're spending your time in. You're in these networking groups. Are they paid? Are they free? Well, you know, they're usually free, and I'm booked with one-on-ones and I'm doing all of this stuff. And I was like, are you going in with the expectation of selling someone? Or are you going with the expectation of learning their story? Because they might know 10 people that you can buy, that would buy your stuff if you gave them the chance to talk. You know, and it's just a different approach, right? If you're sitting there in free networking things or very inexpensive, you're in a group of people that don't want to spend money. They're not going to spend it on you either because you're not spending the money. You know, so that energy always looks back at you. So if something's happening that you don't like, the only place you can look is the mirror and say, why am I attracting this? Because energies can only connect with each other. So if you're connecting low-end clients, that's because that's how you value yourself. If you're connecting high-end clients, it's because that's how you're connecting yourself, right? You are the 5 people that you hang out with. So choose very carefully. Same with your friends. You want to up-level your friend group? Look around, see where your friends are. You know, that it's very important in every aspect and area of your life. Very important.
So more
I agree
evidence,
with
Dr.
everything.
Jacalyn, that common sense isn't all that common.
Yes. We need to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back after this on the Business Talk Show. Stay with us.
Terrific.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diane Floyd Bame's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at dianefloydbame.com.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Меня зовут Маша, мне 9 лет, я живу в Красногоровке, у меня все хорошо. Кушать у нас есть, пить у нас есть, сахар у нас есть, все есть. Только дров не хватает. На буржуйке, когда у нас есть, вот эти мы дрова пособираем, закинем, оно горит. Например, в 10 запалили, в 11 закончили, вода нагрелась, и все, и мы купаемся.
В наш дом 4 было прямых попаданий, так что мы боимся человека даже осколками поранила, забрали в больницу с 6-го подъезда соседа. Так что мы тоже боимся, у нас много деток. Деваться нам некуда, нас никто нигде не ждет.
Когда вырасти, я хочу найти работу такую, чтобы я помогала людям, которые бедные, там.
in 2020, and you do get to the point where it's kind of like you're wearing a million hats and you are frustrated because you've got all these things to offer and you're like waiting for the people to come. You're like, hello, where are you? So, and I love what you just shared. Like, what is it that you're showing up as? Where are you showing up? Who are you surrounding yourself with? These are really important questions.
Very, yeah. And what can you let go of that is really unnecessary? A lot of people think they have to do a lot of stuff that they really don't have to do. They're just
that's important
watching
too.
other people and think that they have to do that.
What about working with people who are in partnerships where one partner feels as though the other partner isn't living up to what they promised they would do? I mean, I know an awful lot of entrepreneurs are held back not just by their own self-limiting beliefs, but by the self-limiting beliefs of the people they've partnered with. How do you work, let's say, with a partnership to help them overcome, to help them become honest enough with each other to share that?
Yeah. So I do want to put out there that, you know, friends, family, and usually spouses are not good business advisors. So especially if they are not entrepreneurs, and if you don't feel loved and supported and encouraged, find a new crew to be talking to about your business. But people that you go in partnership with, just to be cautious to make sure that you are aligned in a lot of different ways, and make sure that, you know, one person knows one thing and the other person knows another thing, right? So it becomes even in the end, you know, each slice of the pie, or people that help you build it. How you structure a partnership is very, very important in the beginning. You will definitely want to have an attorney help you draw up a partnership agreement of some type, just to save yourself. But it's very common after 2 or 3 years in business that partners don't see the same thing. You know, one partner wants to grow and is a visionary, maybe wants to take out a loan or something, and the other partner was like, nope, I'm good here. Like this was my cutoff right here. And then you kind of have to decide, where do you go from there? You know, sometimes the best thing to do is break it off. Other times, you know, it's to work through what those differences are.
So yeah, I know we've got Camille.
And
Might
then
be
you
able-
spin off something on your own. It kind of depends. Every partnership's different, so
That's and I want to follow up on that. You'll work with both partners, not just one at a time, but you'll work with the partnership to help them find these things.
I rarely, if ever, have worked with a partnership. Sometimes I've done, I've actually worked with board of directors for nonprofits, so I can talk to the whole team. So it would be done the same way. But your end result usually is just to put a strategy or, get some goals out there. It's not the same way as working with one person who really wants to shift their life or grow their business.
Right.
Because one person has a dream, they're a visionary, and it's how do we implement it? How do you make a strategy around it? And most of the time when they come to see me, they're at a crossroads in their life, right? Usually they're in a corporate world, or they just left and they have this dream, but they're not sure how to make a business out of it. And that's the part I like and that I'm gifted at. It's how do we make a business out of whatever you want to do? I don't care what you want to do. How do we make a business out of it?
Good.
And is that what you want to do? Right? A lot of times people have a hobby and they're not sure they can make it a business. They usually can if they choose to. And some people say, nope, I really like it as a hobby.
So is this what your book is going to be about?
So my book is called The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Soul-Centered Business. It's 25 tips and strategies. I am the lead author, and I have other authors that are doing chapters and tips based on how they started theirs, so that everyone can tell their story and hopefully people can find their story. It's the first actually of a 3-book series.
Great.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah.
When do you expect to have it completed? And
It's
available?
it will come out in June, the end of
Okay.
June.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. We'll look for that.
Yeah, you have to come back on the corner bookstore and tell us all about it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Happy to do
Good for
that.
you.
Yeah.
Well, Camille, it's been a pleasure having you here today. I've learned a lot from you, and I appreciate you taking time out of your self-care mode to help other people.
Okay.
And I'm going to spotlight you for people who are listening on the radio and can't read the banner. What's the best way for people to reach you, and who would you like to contact you?
So anyone that is in that space that they want to create their own business, they need the strategy to put it together. They have a lot of limiting beliefs. If it sounds like this resonated with you, absolutely get in touch with me. The best way to do it is to go to the website. It's called soulprofessional.com, and you can just hit a contact us page and my team will get that and we'll take it from there. So it's easy to jump on a call and see if it fits.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again. It was so nice meeting you.
You are
Thank
so
you,
welcome.
Camille.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
al.cini, what is
Yeah.
the best way for people to reach you, and who would you like to contact you?
If you're planning an event, you want to try to pull your people together and create an event, maybe reconnect them with the purpose of the organization that you all collectively serve. That's what we do for a living. That's what brand and culture alignment is all about. And the easiest way to reach me is by email, al.cini@getbcat.com. So I hope people will reach out and let's talk about how we might be able to help you realign your people with your purpose, which is really what we do. We have a 3-step process for that. We follow that process and we frankly, honestly, get great results. I'm happy to say we're doing it quite a bit more often these days for people. And I think an awful lot of people, like people who work with Camille, are looking for that sense of purpose that glues them to the work they do and, helps them live a life that they feel has meaning and has value. And there's a way to do that. We've developed a way to do that. So reach out and let's talk.
Thanks so much. I'm going to keep you on Spotlight, and I'm going to share Talking Heads. Your Talking Heads series is coming up starting next week. What can you share with our audience about that?
A week from today, I'll be explaining our 3-step process and also telling you how you can follow the 3-step process for yourself, reconnecting people with purpose. It all starts with something we call the incorporating question. We have advice on how you can facilitate a meeting for all your people around that question, what you do with the answers, how you honor those answers, how you use those answers to create a role model. We actually call it a role target that represents the organization's purpose. And then how do you get everybody to pick one or two or three things about that role model, that role target, that they feel they can become more like? And the net result of it is everybody learning how to walk the talk of the company they serve in a way that makes them feel like they're making a difference. And I think creating that dent in the universe that we'd all like to create. So, and I'm looking forward to that. That'll be right after the business program next Wednesday. Isn't that right, Doc?
Yes, sir, it is. And I'm looking forward to it. So that's
me
very
too.
exciting.
Good. Thank you.
All right, Al, thank you so much for being here, and best wishes with your event that's coming up March the 9th.
My pleasure. All I have to do is I'm working on the notes now. I'll be ready. I promise.
I know you will be. All right, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care. You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you to everyone who watches our shows. We stream between Monday and Friday. We have 20 shows a week, usually sometimes 22. And what I'd like to share with you is that if you want to be a guest on our show, you can go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. You can watch our shows there. You can also watch them many other places, but I recommend you go over to our YouTube channel, which is, guess what? USA Global TV. Okay, personal share for everyone. I just want to let you know that in addition to owning this and running this platform, I am also a certified life and career coach. I'm the listening mentor, and I teach courses for people to learn how to listen. Why do I do this? Because when you have a space for someone, when you listen at an elevated level, you are actually providing inner peace for yourself and a part of world peace for all of us. So I'm just going to share quickly. I would love to have you join my community, the Elevated Listening Community. You can go there and get the details. You see the link is drjacalyn.com/join. Okay, we've got 2 more shows coming up today. Both of them are Talking Head series, and we have Mariska Duprier joining us from New Zealand and Jean Keegan-Daly joining us from New Jersey. And they each have a 30-minute program where they will be sharing expertise from their work to help us be better personally and or professionally. Thank you so much to Al for being here, and thank you to Camille. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. God bless you all.